And we apply that here because we say in a church, just the majority of people are not involved. They don't understand that. They're not involved. Some cases they don't want to be. But I've given you 8 reasons why I think this is the case. And you can look down through these. One is just they don't know how. Number 3, some are waiting on a personal invitation. And so we stand up in front of groups and we announce, we need a Sunday school teacher. Worst thing you could ever do. Fortunately, they are waiting for you to come to them, so they're not going to respond to that. And the problem when you do that in public is the wrong people respond. You know, here's John over here that just can't teach. He can hardly articulate anything at all, and he hears that you need teachers, so he's ready to volunteer for that, perhaps for all the wrong reasons. So what you want to do is you want to choose people and go after those people. That's the way it works. Some pastors, for the sake of job security, want you to let them do the ministry. I've got a job that way, because if all of you get involved in ministry, you don't need me, which is not the case. Another factor here, of course, is our time and our busyness. And that's a major reason why we turn things down. And I guess the issue is, what are we turning down? What are we putting ahead of it? Up here on the top of page 5, I really like to take time with this with them. Because, again, these people are convinced that it's the pastor's job. And you may see this a little bit more in churches that are more liturgical. So there's always an if on all of these. But notice, again, some of the reasons why. Well, the staff has been trained to do ministry. We're talking about reasons why lay people don't get involved. We hire our staff and our pastor because they are trained. They have been to seminary. Then number 3, that's what we pay the staff for, to do ministry. Those are paid people. They're supposed to do it. We're not called to the ministry. And then we're back to the issue of a call. And I think I would argue that we're all called to ministry if you know Christ. God won't use us like He uses them. Sometimes at the potlucks, they'll call and ask the pastor to pray, and I say, well, why don't you let somebody else pray? Because God hears his prayers. And we don't know what we're eating, and we want to make sure. No, just kidding. I had a lady in one church I pastored, the second church I pastored, she did not come to any of the potlucks because she was convinced that all the ladies would clean out their refrigerators and they would bring the old food and try to get people. She had problems, obviously. Obviously. Yeah. And then the last one is we've always done it that way. The pastor's always been, and this is a killer. And I see in a lot of our congregations in our churches, we have an older constituency. We call them the builder generation. And it's always been that we pay the pastor to do it. The pastor does the ministry and the staff. We don't. We're there to support them. And unfortunately, that is unbiblical. That is a wrong view. Instead, we want people in the church. The ABF model that we used to have at our church, where we were responsible, those of us leading the small churches, to do that kind of visitation, is a great way to go. How about the book of Acts? Chapter 6. What's happening there?
The Grecian widows were complaining.
Exactly. The Hebrew and the Grecian widows were having a problem because one group was being serviced and the other wasn't, early in the life of the church. And so the apostles jumped in and took care of that, right? And they started serving the ladies? No. What did they do?
Choose among yourselves.
They delegated that role to others who were probably not professionals, while they did what?
Minister of the word and prayer.
Minister of the word and prayer. Is that telling you something about what's important?
That's right.
See, and now you could pull that out and use that, and that would silence people, but it really wouldn't matter. You can win the argument intellectually, but emotionally they're probably still there. When's he going to visit? So this is a hard model to change. And even the kids will pick it up and they say, well, why didn't he visit Mama while she was in the hospital?